I'm going to talk about weights. Weights for an RC. I'm going to give you two options, mainly the Hoodie products. Now, before I go into the Hoodie products, this is the Hoodie tape. It is quite expensive. It's about $8 for 5 sheets, but the sheets are incredibly thin, so they're not really going to affect the weight of the weights that you add. Before this tape, I used to use this tape. So this is just a blue backing. It's a gray color. It's a double-sided tape made by Gorilla Glue, or sorry, not Gorilla Glue, Gorilla, like the Gorilla tape, makers of Gorilla Glue. I just can't find the roll, or else I would show you the actual name of the roll. But the backing is that light blue color. It's very thin, not as thin as this. This is much, much thinner. But it's better than the double-sided 3M, which tends to be thicker, although 3M will work as well. 3M, you can find different thicknesses. For example, this one's not that thick, but again, compared to this, which is thinner than paper. So consider that. Now, weights. Well, I am going to be honest. You can buy something like this. These, I do not remember the cost. They were perhaps $5, maybe $6, $4, $5, $6. So quite inexpensive, and you get 8 per strip. There's a total of 6 of these strips, so you get 48 weights. And these are all 7 grams. So each one of these is 7 grams, and they're very close to 7 grams. Now this, I removed the backing, 7 grams. 14 grams. Now, this is a hoodie weight. Now, I do have tape on it now. 15 grams. The tape is negligible if I grab some of the other weights. Now, here's the disadvantage to hoodie weights. They're about $23 a weight. So I have 4 weights here. That's about $100, right? So that's a disadvantage. Now, I'm obviously rounding up, right? It would be less than that, 92, but still close enough. Add the tape, that's 100. If you're in an area that pays taxes on purchasing items or goods, well, just the weights would be about $100. So that's something to keep in mind. 4 weights, $100, or you can buy this for very little. Now, these other weights over here, they are steel, but one of the things that there's a few things that I want to show. Now, if you're brand new getting into the hobby, this is probably going to be your choice. It's less expensive if you're getting into it. Once you've been in it for a long time, these are steel, these are tungsten. So tungsten, the density of tungsten is 14, 15 perhaps grams per cubic centimeter, versus steel is about 7 or 8. So these are twice as much as far as the density, which means that for the same size, the tungsten is going to weigh double. Now, I'm going to try to weigh this with the tape. So once you've been in the hobby a little longer, or maybe you just have a very large budget, these are almost 4 millimeters. That's including the tape. I am applying very soft pressure. See, if I apply more pressure to the tape, compress it, it would be less. Now I am going to try to take a measurement without the tape. So the tape is adding approximately 1 millimeter based on this. Well, it depends on how, let's see, here we go. That's the difference. So what that means is it's gonna have a higher center of mass. Is it really that significant? Probably not, I'll be honest, compared to something like this. Now this is less thick. It's 2.7, well, 2.66, which again, compared to this, let me try to see if I can remove the tape. It's 3. So these are much taller. The other thing to keep in mind is the following. Now, okay, so this is the part number for the hoodie weights. Like I said, they're about $23. So I'll go ahead and stick these two here. So this is a total of 14 grams. This is 15. Notice the size. Quick note, so the tape, I just used scissors, cut the tape, cut into strips. I'm sticking the weights here. I'm gonna go ahead and take this off. You don't have to be exact at first, so I just lined it up with this edge, but the rest of the edges need trimming. You can actually just take your, just a blade. You could use scissors, but then, I'm trying to have this appear on the camera, but you would just run the blade here, just like you're cutting down. And that's it. You'll get just a nice little finish. Trim the other side. Usually you want to go the same direction for everything. But this is all you have to do. You can trim the edges, trim the corners. That's it. Now I need to trim this other side. I'm gonna go with the edge corner. And that's it. Just need one more corner. That's all you do. So that's the reason why you may want to consider tungsten. Now, I will be honest, if you want inexpensive tungsten, just buy the Pine Car kit. So for Pine Cars, there's these little weight kits that you can buy. The thing is, they're different shapes. They may or may not work for your setup, so it's up to you. But that's really the less expensive way. You can buy, let me try to remember, pack of, for less than $20, maybe about $15, you can get probably close to 90 grams, 60 to 90 grams. I want to say about 90 grams perhaps. They're thinner sizes, different shapes, they have holes in them so you can drive nails through them. So maybe you can just use tape or even put a screw through them because some of them come pre-drilled. So that tungsten, it's a little rougher, but that is a less expensive option than Hoodie. Keep in mind, Hoodie, there's a name to the product. That's one of the reasons why you're paying a higher price. So here we go. So the size of this, we're looking at about 19 millimeters by 16.3, roughly. So again, what was it? 19 by 16.3. 16.5, so it's just a smidge wider. 19. So the other one was 0.05, this one's 0.11. So they're about the same length. This one's just a smidge wider. So in other words, in the same amount of space that you can fit one of these weights, you can fit one of these, but you get just over double the mass with the Hoodie tungsten weight than you would with this. Now, something else to note, they do make a 10. The 10 is about 2/3 of the size, which makes sense. They do make a 5. Now the 5 is about the length of the 10, but a little shorter, so it would take up about that much area. And Hoodie does have the dimensions online. So if you go on Hoodie's website, they have the dimensions there. Now for the, I believe it's the 15 and the 20 gram, so you can get a 20 gram. 20 gram is close to $30 for the 20 gram, the low profile. So 20, they make low profile. It's much thinner than this. It is slightly larger, so it's more of a square, but it's much thinner. And they do have the low profile 15, which again, is a little bigger, but you could use that. Now, the lower profiles, one of the advantages, depending on the car that you have, for example, say you had an X-Ray T4, this is an X4, but say you had a T4 with the different arms, or the Yokomo BD10, or the BD11, which is the new one with the, actually I think they replaced the arms on the BD, I don't remember. I would have to look that up. But those are so low profile that you could actually fit them underneath the arms. Just take the droop screw, move it up, stick the weight in there, and then your arms would not be, it wouldn't interfere with your arms really, and then the set screw would actually touch the weight, which the weight would be strung on the chassis. The only thing is, you're now making the chassis stiffer there because it's a larger surface area of tungsten that is coming in contact with the chassis. So that's something to consider. But back to these weights. So let's just say you have an X-Ray, X4. Mugen has very similar front suspension, so does Serpent. I'm trying to remember how many others. The point is, these will fit right inside of that wishbone. So the wishbone suspension right in here. And they will not interfere with anything. They will not even be underneath the arm. They will be between everything. And I'm trying to see if the camera will pick it up. But so as you can see right there, see it's not even close to the arm. The front is going to be the challenge. Well, maybe there you can see as well. It's not touching the arm. So you can place the weights right there, almost just below those differential cups, the output shafts, and you would have your weight. So this is one of the things to consider. Again, it's very, very expensive, but it's very dense, very compact. So again, these are 15 grams, and I'll wait again. 15 grams that takes about the same space as 2 of the 7s, which these are 14. So again, for tuning, that's something to consider. There is a 5. That 5 is a tiny little thing. There's a 5 that you can get as well. So again, these are some of the options. This is the part number for the tape. Again, this is $8. It's expensive, but it's quite a lot of tape. The other option, which is less than this, would be to get that Gorilla tape that has double adhesion. It has a backing that's this blue color. Once you strip the backing, it's actually a gray. The tape's a gray color. I can't seem to manage, so I'm not gonna, well, maybe the camera's picking up some of the gray. Yes, it is. All right, so you can see the gray. That's the gray. And this is a thinner option, very strong, very durable, but it is thicker than the Hoodie tape. Now, there's other brands that make this. I can't remember off the top of my head similar things, but things to consider. It all depends on where you need the weight. For some vehicles, it is extremely difficult to find a place. Some of those low profile weights you can actually fit right underneath the servo here. Some of them you can fit here, under here. But if you are balancing the weight of the car, you don't want to be limited to where you can fit the weight. Maybe you want the weight up front. Maybe you do want one in the rear. So these weights, because they're so small, they're easier to find a location to place. So yes, are these expensive? I would say extremely expensive. They're extremely expensive. Are they worth it? Once you've been doing this for a while and it's something that you're passionate about and you love doing and you continue doing, I would say yes. Is it something that you should do if you just built a car for the very first time and you're going to race for the very first time and you don't know whether or not you are going to stay or leave the hobby? Probably not. And the reason why is that's going to increase the cost. And then the question is, was it worth the money to get in? So spending money like this on some of these items, you do once you've been in the hobby longer. Why? Because at that point, it is worth it. It's so fun. It's worth spending the extra money. Would I buy these again? Yes, of course. Of course I would buy them again. Is there another option? An identical option that I'm aware of? No. But if you happen to run into one, please put in the comments below. And when I say another option, I mean something that is this neat. Because again, pine car weights, the tungsten pine car weights, they're not this neat, or at least the ones that I have seen. But still, you can share what other preferences you use. Again, if you're getting into it, you want something inexpensive, this is probably the way to go. But this is my comparison on the weights and my review on the Hoodie weights and the tape. The tape is actually very strong. And I hope this will help you make your decision. And I hope you get in the hobby, or if you're in the hobby, stay in the hobby and just have fun. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this was entertaining or at least informative. I'll catch you in the next one.
What? Oh, my hair! My tongue! My rod!